Take me through the closet. What's in here?
Well, there's a lot of different things that are hanging here based on all of my programs and my vintage dancing. I have fabrics hanging in here, and I also have garments that are actually authentic, 150-year-old garments.
Like, can you put your finger on one of those?
Sure. This fichu, or neckerchief, it dates to early 1800s. And I have a variety of things for men as well as women, even up to, because the range I do is Regency to Edwardian. And here is a beautiful silk 1912 dress.
Tell me about this dress. Do you know anything about it?
No. What I do is I go on what I refer to as rescue missions. I don't do eBay and places where you would commonly get vintage clothes. I search used furniture stores. I found a pair of drawers, ladies' drawers. They're not bloomers, they're drawers, actually in a box of curtains in Austin, Texas at a thrift store.
There's nothing better than thrift stores. Are those it?
Yes. Now, I don't know what they do in Texas and by putting their undergarments in windows, but this was a beautiful pair of ladies' drawers from the time period, and I found them in a box of curtains. And I use only vintage garments for my program if they already fit me, and trust me, I am not petite. So these vintage clothes that do fit me are a case in point to do the myth busting that everyone was 4'2" and this big around. Now I do wear the corsetry, which was fundamental for the shape of the time. So the shapes of the clothes the shape of the clothes from time to time, from time period to time period changes, but with the aid of a foundation undergarment, you can achieve the look of any time period.
Favorite dresses in here?
One of my favorite is actually hanging here. This one I actually made from an 1895 pattern. I wear a petticoat underneath, and then I have this two-piece outfit, and this is what I dance in, and also I use for my 1890s formal wear Victorian. And I got this fabric in Osgood's fabric store in West Springfield, so...
Your memory for these things always amazes me.
And I have a wonderful array of children's clothing that I use for the school shows that I do, including girls and boys undergarments, drawers, lovely little drawers.
A lot of drawers.
Yeah. Drawers, a tube of fabric on one leg, a tube of fabric on the other leg. They're drawn together at the waist. They're drawers, not bloomers. Bloomers were an outer garment. And then I have all kinds of corset covers and camisoles and things that the kids would have worn, which were basically adults' fashions, only made smaller.
How about hats? Do you have hats as well? Funny I should ask, right?
Funny
You should ask.
Right over here, I have in excess of 50, 60 hats.
All in boxes?
Yes, and they're all annotated. I have them all. Everything in my collection is annotated as a small museum would have it. Everything has a number. Everything has a history. I write that down because that's very important, because I know these things are only temporarily with me. They'll eventually be with someone else. And when they are with someone else, I want them to know. And some of these things are 100 years old, and some of them were made for me. This is a lovely little bonnet for the summer that was made for me for my 1860 show. And a lot of the wonderful hats that I have, also I rework them.
And put feathers on or whatever you...
And whatever is appropriate for the time period. I have the very large Edwardian hats with the big brims and all of that. And then you have the very small. This was made for me by Micheline Stewart Hill. And she did a phenomenal job of historically recreating that. And Now that we're in winter and it actually feels like winter even if there isn't snow, I of course bring out all of my furs because they didn't have Thinsulate or polypropylene. In their defense, they used furs to keep warm. So I have an entire array of clothes for whatever time period and
How
time
about
of
jewelry?
year.
Do you get into jewelry as well?
Yes. Ignore the mess. I have everything listed here. I have
Beautiful costume jewelry.
Yep. And some of them are reproductions, some of them are actual pieces from the time period. And my husband's favorites, he loves me in chokers, so I have a number of those.
And please note the hat pins.
Oh, these
Yes.
are gorgeous.
My one regret for people who love Victorian now is they're collecting them and putting them on shelves. It's hard for me to find affordable actual vintage hat pins because I actually use them as hat pins. But people buy them because they're beautiful and they put them on a shelf. So there's a lot of things that are collectible, and my collection of things are to share and to use as their original purpose was intended. And I really respect these garments, and I keep this room in a specific humidity, specific temperature. The things that are hanging only hang if I have confidence that they won't disintegrate. Nothing's stored in plastic. I don't have anything that is too fragile that I use in my program because my whole goal is that they'll survive for another 150 years.
So it must be very difficult for you to live in this century.
It's not difficult for me to live in this century. I like to vote. I like indoor plumbing. That's always good. I like the fact that there's more equality now. We have a long way to go in the United States in particular to get back some of the things that we've lost. I'm glad that some of the things that we used to indulge in are gone. There's a number of different horrible time periods in the United States we're all familiar with, and they have passed on. But we need to reach back and find some of those graces that we let go of. Now that we have more equality, it's okay. I'm a very strong woman. My husband knows I can open that door myself. But he chooses to open it for me, and I choose to accept that as a nicety, as a manners and an etiquette, and it's okay.